Okay, guys, this is going to be a pretty quick overview on the laptop here. This is my replacement to the Razer Blade Pro 2016 2 terabyte. As you guys know, things with me and Razer didn't really pan out very well, so that unit is gone. I decided to go with this Alienware R4. I'm going to say right off the bat, it's definitely not as pretty as the Razer was, but functionality-wise, it's much nicer, and the build quality is stunning. Now, I know there's some issues out there with the original R4 with the 6th generation processors, where they were overheating with the thermal compound, or thermal paste was not, or thermal pads were not applied correctly, and they had to do a repaste to get the full efficiency. They did fix that with the end of the 6th generation, and of course this is a 7th generation Intel i7, and it is it's flawless. I have no issues with it. There's no light bleed on the screen. I mean, it is an IPS panel. It is the 4K version. There is a 1080 GTX inside of here. I opted to go with the 16 gigs of RAM with the higher clock speeds over the 32, which was really kind of overkill for what I do. Even with video editing, I've gotten close. So I've got up to like 12 gigs of RAM used, but I've never hit 16. And if that time does come, then I'll definitely upgrade. But for about the same price, I can get the faster 16, and I kind of opted for that. I'm going to jump right into any things I don't like about this right off the bat. One USB 3.0 over here. There's another one here. And then there's also a USB-C. Now this is just a USB 3.0 port. This is not a Thunderbolt port. On the back here you do have a Thunderbolt. You have HDMI 2.0, your full Ethernet port, power, and your display adapter. And this is the Alienware graphics amplifier, which I really don't care about the graphics amplifier right now. I mean, the 1080 in here is plenty. I can play GTA, and I was playing Fallout 4 here recently on 4K, and the frame rates are great. So it is, since it's a 4K display, it only is a 60 hertz screen, and for me that's sufficient. I really like that. I much rather have the color accuracy and the resolution. I know there are some games out there like Counter-Strike, for example, that the refresh rate is going to be pretty critical. You're going to definitely want that. But for the games I play, and I'm not that hardcore of a gamer, I like to play from time to time, but mostly it's for work, and this thing is just a powerhouse. That said, when I'm using it in high-performance situations, the cooling vents here on the back, it is a hinge-forward design. They work really well. It's much more quiet, even on full load 4K or producing a video. It will. I mean, if it's in a quiet room like this, it will get a little bit louder. But if you're playing a game and using the speakers even at medium volume, you might notice the fans a little bit. Medium high volume, you won't even hear them. So that's pretty cool. I do have noise canceling headphones too, but really, again, in most cases, it's not really necessary. So on the bottom panel here, they have a massive intake, which is really nice. I think this definitely helps. So air comes in here, and then it goes out, and they have the copper cooling for their vapor chambers, and it just dissipates out the back. I did open this unit up, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws that need to be removed, Phillips head screws. And again, little things on quality. These screws they're made of a very good alloy. They won't strip out, they won't do anything. I mean, when you hold them in your hand and when you actually use them, you will just be like, wow, these are definitely not some cheap IKEA quality screw. Inside is very well built. The metal frame is really nice. All the cables, all the components to kind of help protect them, they have this kind of felt, like maybe even a little bit metallic kind of sticker or wrapping around them, which I've seen in really expensive machines like this one. And it's it's very clean. It's really well designed. And as I've seen from the Alienware team, they said that they have used the space in this device to absolutely maximize it. So that said, I'm going to throw up some video or some images here of it next to my Razer Blade Pro. It is a little bit thicker, absolutely. It's definitely going to be, I guess that would be the width, the height of it here, this direction, is going to be a little bit longer because of this hinge forward design. Width is about the same. But overall, yeah, I really like it. It's heavy, but it's not. I was really expecting something that would just, pull me down, and I pulled it out of the box, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's really not that bad. I mean, one-handed, you're fine. I mean, obviously, it's not an Ultrabook, but it is very, very good at, I guess, efficiency. It's really, really compact considering what it's packing. And you'll notice there's a bit of a bulge here on the back, and I know the 15 doesn't have this, and that is your Toby Eye Tracking, which I'm going to show you here because it's pretty cool. I'm going to grab the camera here, move this. I know it's kind of an amateur move, but okay, so there's me, there's my edit. This is actually the second half of this video, which is about the backpack, which is sitting over there. I apologize, it's a little messy here today. It's a Saturday. So we have eye tracking on. So I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this here. Okay, so the mouse is currently in the middle. If I want to move it to the lower right corner to the start button, you'll see that my finger barely moves, but I'm looking at the start button, and now I'm at the start button. Top right corner now. Now I'm in the top right. Now we're going to go down to the clock. There. So I have this set up. Again, this is inside of the Toby Eye Tracking settings here. You go into your settings, and then you can go to your touchpad, mouse, Windows, and others. And power is kind of cool too. So what this will do is actually, I'm going to stabilize this little tripod here. What this will do is you can actually set it that the keyboard will turn off when you're not looking at it, and as soon as you move your eyes down, it'll light up. And the keyboard also has different sections of LED lights, so if you're looking at the right side will be really bright lit up. The left side will either be completely dim or off, which sounds kind of cool. I mean, you can literally move your eyes left and right, and it will just follow you. And it's not buggy, it's not delayed, it's actually really, really responsive. I really got into this thinking that the Toby was just going to be great for Windows Hello, and then if it did something else, great, it's cool to mess around with. For gaming, I've tried it in Tomb Raider, it's okay. But really, just for the daily tasks, it's really, really awesome. So people have complained that the trackpad's a little small. I would agree with that. It is a Synaptics trackpad. It's not my personal favorite, but it is by no means a bad trackpad. It's pretty solid. Just make sure you've got the most up-to-date drivers and your gestures and everything work pretty flawlessly. So, but yeah, so with that, this is a open Wi-Fi network. So with that said, this is just very useful for your tasks. I mean, you can move around so much more quickly with this feature, and it's pretty cool to show off. I mean, some of my coworkers here have seen the Toby Eye Tracking and have found it pretty cool. So there's that. The keyboard is the Tactix keyboard. I really like it. It's definitely not the mechanical feel of the Razer Blade Pro, but and I will say I really liked that mechanical keyboard in the Razer Blade Pro. The layout wasn't my favorite, but the clickiness or tactile effectiveness of the keys was very cool. But again, it's kind of a trade because I now have the custom Alienware buttons here and on the left and the top right. So I have them set to volume control and mute, and I can do simple things like here. I can just press that and open my computer, press number 2, I open the calculator and jump right into it. And for things like office work, which is a majority of what I'm doing, this works fantastic. And then you can also set these for custom things, like if you want to set them in your video editing apps to do certain functions. You can do that as well, although I have not set that up just yet. This is what I have changed though. So this unit here is the top of the line specs. I guess debatably the top of the line, technically I guess the 32 gigs of RAM is like $50 more than what I did, but and in Korea the best one you can get is a 512 gig solid state and a 1 terabyte spinning disk. And that was fine with me because I was going to remove those anyway. So I ordered it here. It was 3.8 million won, so about $3,500 US. And keep in mind that does include a 10% tax and shipping and all that. It does come direct from the factory in China, and they send it here. So with that being said, what I did is I went ahead and ordered a Samsung NVMe 960 Pro, a Crucial MX300 in a 2 terabyte variety. And I was going to run the OS off of the Samsung, and all my games and extra storage and stuff would be on the Crucial. But I had some issues with the Samsung when I had Windows on it. It was just kind of buggy and unstable, and I saw online that a couple other people were having issues. There is a firmware update I need to do to the drive. So far I've not been able to do that successfully, and it's basically because it's a 1 terabyte version, the Magician Samsung software doesn't seem to want to play nice with it, so you have to do it in the BIOS, and I am not really confident doing things through BIOS, and I don't really want to like either brick my system or screw up the hard drive because it was like an $800 drive. And from what I've also read is that even with the firmware update, some people are still having some issues with it. So as kind of a nice surprise, the drive that came with this in the M.2, I was told from other reviews that they were SATA drives, and I was pleasantly surprised to open it up and find a Toshiba NVMe, and pulling the specs out, it was actually a pretty good one. People said it's pretty solid, so I did some benchmarks on it, Crystal Disk, and found out that it is actually up to 2,000 megabits per second read, and about 780 to the low 800s in write. So the other thing is that out of the box, Alienware has kind of custom tuned this already. So I actually decided to just wipe the Samsung, use the Samsung drive just for my video editing, and then the 2 terabyte Crucial will be my personal files and games and that, because even though it is a SATA 2 terabyte, that's still wicked fast, and for games, SATA versus NVMe is almost, you really can't notice a difference. And then of course, so I already have the 512 NVMe that came included with the system, so I figure 512 for just running Windows and some basic programs on that are required, like Facebook Messenger, for example, has to be on the C drive, that I'll just run it off of there. Also, I had a comment, someone asked me about changing the Windows App Store. So like Gears of War, you use the Windows Store to download, and I'm actually not connected to the internet right now. I've got a Cat5 cable here at the office because the Wi-Fi is restricted. So you can actually change how to do that, and I think it is under memory, and no, we'll get into that. I'll keep looking for this as I'm talking. Yeah, you can actually change the folder in where your new apps are downloaded. So when I downloaded Gears of War, which is a pretty big game, I think it's like 140 gigs, I had that direct into the Crucial 2 terabyte. So we'll go into the Alienware Command Center here next. If you guys want me to show you how to change that in a later video, or change the drive, the default download drive for Windows Store, I can show you how to do that in a later video. So here, this is the Alienware Fx. You can change the different zones. There are 5 zones here on the keyboard, and that's what I'm saying, is if you look to the right, these will light up and these will be off. Or you can just have them all on. I mean, you can custom tune this however you want. And the other thing, like I said, this is kind of weird, but like when I had the Samsung drive installed and I had fresh, clean boot of Windows, I had re-downloaded Alienware Fx from Alienware's website, And it was missing some of the themes, as where the drive that came with Windows optimized from Alienware had a bunch of extra themes in there. I know it's not huge, but it's just that much less that I have to deal with. And again, that Toshiba drive for running Windows 10 is more than sufficient. Okay, so Alien Fusion here is the next option. This is basically your power settings in pretty immense detail, and they do have an advanced settings tab as well, where you can go into that. So it's kind of nice that you can kind of run that all in one bit, and your battery status and that sort of thing. Speaking of battery, it is a 99 watt-hour battery, largest you can have in a computer and still legally take it onto a plane. And I will say this, if you're not gaming and you're just using it on the fly, like I work at a campus here, LG campus, and it's pretty cool because I was expecting some pretty horrible battery times, but just doing office work and basic stuff, even here with my video edit in progress, I've been working on this for, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I'm still at 95% battery. So with the screen on. Again, the Toby Eye Tracking is really good at helping you save every little bit of energy while you're on battery power. The next one is the Alienware Tactix. This is the one where you can set your macros and set the custom keys. So you have the left macros here on the left side of the keyboard, and then you have the top right macros, which are above the numeric keypad. And then the last one here is the Alien Adrenaline, where you can sit here and check your graphics amplifier, performance mode, game modes, and you can create different modes. So I have not really played around with this very much, at least this Alien Adrenaline yet. I don't have the graphics amplifier. I really don't. For me, it's not really necessary at this moment. I really kind of like it as a docking solution. So I might look into that into the future, but for right now, I'm moving around too much between office buildings. And I do have a desk here as well, but I'm rarely at it. I'm usually in meeting rooms like this. Yeah, so this setup just works a lot better. So the other kind of thing, like I said, jumping back to the Alienware Fx, you do have the kind of backlit keypads here, the side ones, and then of course there's the alien head on the back. And the keypad, or I'm sorry, the trackpad does light up. Alien head lights up, Alienware logos on the front. And it compared to the Razer, was it the, drawing a blank here, guys, Chroma, it's not as cool. I mean, you can mimic it, but not to that high level of effect, with the wave and that kind of stuff. But really, the wave pattern on the Razers is really distracting, at least for a keyboard. I have a Razer mouse that I have that set to, and that's much less distracting. But yeah, for this one here, it's not as cool for LED lighting effects. But I will say that's a big trade-off because unlike the Razer, Alienware offers a Korean keyboard, which is wonderful. And then I have it actually set up to that I can do Japanese and English as well, of course. And then, of course, your symbols, the exclamation point, @ $, $, or hashtag, whatever you want to call that. Those are all backlit as well as the Korean characters. So for me, that's a pretty nice trade-off. I will lose a little bit of LED coolness for a lot more functionality. And again, compared to having the Razer Blade Pro with the touchpad on the right side, it's down here, and I've got a numeric keypad back. And as I usually use a Razer Mamba mouse, I don't use the trackpad that much. But again, if I'm in a pinch and I need to use a trackpad, it's actually pretty nice. I really don't have any complaints. I haven't used the Synaptics trackpad in a while. This is definitely one of their newest generations, and it's solid. I don't have any complaints. It's not as nice as like a Mac or something like that, but it's I mean, you're really reaching here to say that it's a lot worse or something like that. So anyway, that's pretty much it on this one here. I think I'm going to wrap this up. If you guys have any specific questions on this model, again, this is a 1080, which does have the ridiculously big power pack. But again, even with this power pack, I'll get to that here in just a sec, but this is the 1080. It has the 16 gigs of the high-speed RAM. It has 3.5 terabytes of disk space, 1.5 of that being NVMe variety, and the other, or the remaining being the MX300 Crucial SATA. And Windows 10, and I did, the only thing I will say I've had an issue with Windows 10 on this is the language. As I said, this is basically set up to be trilingual, and the Cortana didn't like that at all. So I was kind of confused because in previous versions of Windows, if you set your language list, as I can show you here. Okay, so the languages show up here. So it used to be that if these were in the list, that the next Windows update would then download those language packs. However, now you actually have to go into the options, and then there is an option up here for speech, and you have to download that. If you don't click download, it won't download. It will not automatically do it in Windows Update. So I was having issues where Cortana, you know, it's like choose your language. Korea is not currently supported, but you could set it to do English in Korea, and it just would keep locking up. Like it would just stutter and then freeze, and then even like in extreme cases, after I'd tried to do some issues like through the command prompt, and I thought it was a Windows error, and it would lock up Explorer and it'd restart, and it wasn't. It was something really simple. I just needed to download it and it was good, and that was it. I had a couple issues with Bitdefender also causing some notification sounds with no notifications. But I just kind of powered through it, downloaded everything I needed, rebooted, and ever since it's never been an issue. So I, to this day, was not able to figure out what that was. But yeah, so wrapping this up for the PC version or PC part of this video. That's pretty much it, guys. It's a really solid computer. I really love the build quality. It's much better than Razer, in my opinion. Actually, you can make your own opinion on that, but I mean, Jesus, it's just night and day difference, guys. It's way better. Customer support's pretty cool. I talked to them once for some drivers. I just wanted to make sure we're up to date. And their website was, of course, they had a couple months old driver. There's a new one out. And they chat messaged me and sent it directly, and it was done. I mean, it was super cool. And that was actually Dell Korea, which I was very pleasantly surprised that they had an English-speaking staff person. My Korean's decent, but it's not something I want to use for something as important as drivers. And they were pretty cool about it. So, all right, next we're going to go jump into the backpack. What I'm going to go into here is I've got a request because people are talking about the bag, that the Razer Blade Tactical Pro 17-inch backpack that I had. And I still have, actually it's for sale on eBay at the moment. And I was super disappointed because, as you guys know, I sent the Razer Blade Pro back, but I was outside of my sale return period for the backpack, and this Alienware is about this much too wide to fit comfortably into that Razer bag, and it won't zip closed. So obviously that didn't work. So what I did is I just threw it online. I'll take a loss on the bag. Thanks, Razer. And I ended up getting this delivered yesterday. So this is the Alienware, what do you guys call this? The Vindicator Backpack 2.0. Fits most 17-inch laptops, lifetime warranty. Blah, 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 blah. Still has the little sticker protection on it. It's a cool looking bag, in my opinion, but it's, I don't know, it's a little less cool than the Razer one, in what I was thinking. I'm not super fond of the Alienware logo either, especially in Korea. People don't know what it is, and they just think you're a fan of aliens, and whatever. I try and educate the people here in my office what it is, and there's a few gamers that know what it is, but it's still kind of the underdog. So I'm going to basically explain about this bag and why I ended up choosing it. Why? Biggest reason was just convenience. I ordered from Dell Korea. It was 143,000 won, which is about $130, $125, and which is a little bit more than what it costs in the US, but that also includes 10% sales tax, and it also includes the shipping, and I don't know where it came from originally, if it was from the US warehouse or straight from China. But yeah, it was to my doorstep for that price. And to get exactly, and like I said, it's designed for this laptop, and that's really what I was kind of going for. I will say build quality is better than the Razer bag. Not to say the Razer bag is bad, it's very nice, but little things, like when I was in high school, I had Targus bags, and I had 2 of them, and they were not cheap. I mean, they're well over $100, and they always put plastic buckles on them, and they would always break, and it really pissed me off because they would break, and of course, you know, their warranty was decent. Like, they'd replace it. I think they were at Best Buy or something, and they would replace it, but the really cool blue color I wanted, they didn't have, and they're like, oh, well, now we have this navy blue, and that's the only thing we're going to replace it with. So I was like, all right. So I got the bag color that I didn't want, and about 6 months later, they all broke again. So I'm really picky when it comes to buckles, and I was very pleasantly surprised that the zippers here are all metal with plastic casings with their blue accent color. All the buckles on all of these are metal. The clips are still plastic, obviously, because they got to have some spring to it. But there really is only the one clip in the front for your front chest clip, and that's it. So I'm not really worried about that. I probably won't utilize that very much. But yeah, all of the buckles here are metal, and that's just really, really nice to see. Okay, so on the inside, this is the main laptop pocket, and it does also have, try to show you here, a spot here where you can put your tablets. So I'm just using a Tab S3, and that will just slide right in here. And it is a very soft touch material inside. Actually kind of cleans the screen while it's in there. Padding, it's a very, almost like memory foam-esque, very firm memory foam. For your back support, there is a groove here down the back. It has the Alienware, I guess that's kind of plastic rubber etched in there with their name. Ventilation's pretty good. It doesn't get very hot, and I'm a pretty big, sweaty guy. Shoulder straps, really good padding, a little light on the bottom, but where it really counts is around the shoulders, and they've done very similar padding to the back here. Not overly thick. They maybe could have put more on there, but I think it's actually, with the density, it's really, really well done, because I have this loaded up with gear. I mean, the power brick, the computer, the mouse, some Sony headphones, I've got an Xbox controller for this, and some random other accessories all in here. I mean, it's not, I've never weighed it, but it's, I mean, it's not light. But it's comfortable, it really is. And for me, I'm really only taking this from my home to the parking garage, and I live in a high-rise, and from there I drive to work, and I walk from my car into the office, and that's really the only time it's ever been carried, so to speak. So it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I guess if you were carrying it on a train for long distances, that might get a little tiresome, but then again, why are you buying this laptop if you're going to be doing that? But yeah, so there's that. I'm going to take this out so I don't drop it. Yeah, so features here, they were saying it's a high-density nylon exterior. Oh, I guess the chest straps are also, okay, okay, there's extra padding where the chest straps are too. So additional pockets and power adapter bag. Okay, yeah, so it comes with this bag, and it has a little Alienware logo at the top. It is, and I like this, I really do. For people that don't know, if you're telling them to grab a bag or something, they can actually see through the mesh and see what's inside. And if you have something else in there, you don't have to open the bag to get into it. And it's not a cheap mesh either. It's a rubberized, like really strong. Like I'm really pulling, it won't budge or stretch or anything. It's really, really well built. And I'm also checking here, even little things, guys, for their stitching. I mean, this is double stitched, the whole seam all the way around, and then another stitch for the zipper itself. I mean, they do not cheap out in this construction, and it is really, really, really well built. So back to our pockets. This is the main center pocket. This one is basically, you've got a little folder here so you can separate if you got papers and that sort of thing, which I do. I actually usually bring in newspapers every day and a couple of files, but I don't have them with me today. It's actually Saturday, which is why I'm in this casual clothing. And then there's a big second pocket, like main here. I mean, you could fit another laptop in here if you wanted, but actually what I do is this is where I put my power adapter, is down in here. I've got my Sony, I guess the 1000s, MDR 1000X's. Bluetooth headphones will go in here with their hard case. And then of course the Xbox controller, I just have another little case for that. So that all goes in here, and then I can have my papers in here. Zip that up. There is a second, again, it's kind of a see-through mesh compartment here, and it actually doesn't go all the way to the top, but from this blue zipper line and down. And then, of course, you have your outside pocket, which is, this is the back of the backpack. And this one, this is what I really like. So this one opens up a lot more than the Razer bag. The Razer bag only opens up halfway. This opens up, I would say, about 2/3. So like business cards and ID cards can all go here, and they're much more easy to get to. Similar to the Razer bag, you do have the elastic tie down here. A bunch of little pockets, and by bunch I mean you have two smaller ones that you could put, you know, a deck of cards in, basically. And then you have on this fold down pocket here, you actually have two more that are, there's one this size, and there's actually a second one down below that you can put here for things that you just really don't use that often. And then there is a big stretchy pocket at the top. The stretchy pocket stops halfway through, it's double stitched again. And this one, really, I use it for stuff you're taking in and out all the time. So for me, my mouse and my mouse, what is it, charging dock are gonna go here. There are some of the neoprene USB memory stick holders here at the bottom. I'll bring the camera a little closer so you guys can see this here. So there are some neoprene USB sticks. I said the two pockets, and a couple things, you know, pen holders and stylus holders, that kind. I really just have a couple pens and a, I guess the S Pen for the tablet too. So, yeah, and then, okay, so on the outside, this is what I've gotten. A couple of people have asked me about this. It is not plastic. I mean, maybe a little bit. I don't know what it is. It seems more bendable, but it's really weird because it's actually, when you touch it, it's like leathery. It's kind of odd. Like, it's definitely waterproof, so, or water resistant. The logo itself is metal. It's probably the same buckles. This is something I thought was really cool and nobody's really mentioned in their reviews, and maybe this is just the 2.0 model. There's little baby compartments on both sides here, which is great. Like if you're traveling and you just want to put like an ID or something in there, something you can take in and out without taking the bag completely off, it's pretty great. And then on the back, I guess it'd be your, if it's on your back, it'd be on the left side. There is a pull-out water bottle holder. I probably won't use that very much, but I mean, it's there if you want it. I mean, you could use it for other stuff too. but yeah, it's there. So, and then on the other side, there's not a water bottle holder on the other side, but yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like, again, they put a lot of effort in design, similar to the laptop itself. The bag is just well designed, well made. It's not the best looking, just like the laptop, really. I mean, let's face it, I really do think Razer makes a better looking computer. But when it comes to day-to-day functionality, Alienware's just got them beat. They've been around since '96. They're over 20 years old now, I guess, and it shows. I mean, they've got some know-how, they've got some expertise. They're well built. When I was upgrading the drives in this thing, I can see the quality. Just every little thing. They use those anti-conductive, it's kind of like a cloth tape, and they wrap all the wires. They cover all the boards. I think it helps dissipate the heat a little bit too. And I mean, they didn't have to do that, but they do. And I'm sure it brings the cost up a little bit, but it looks nice. It's functional. And this thing is just dead quiet. The Razer, even when it was just an idle, you can still hear the fans going, and it was always getting warm. And I know it's because it's a G-Sync panel and it always runs the GTX 1080. But still, I mean, I'm pretty impressed. This thing, when I'm doing 4K Fallout or Grand Theft Auto, the fans do turn up, and I will say you can hear them, but even with the standard speakers at medium to medium high volume, you don't hear it. It just sounds like a normal computer, and it doesn't get hot. And I know that the R4 had some issues with the early, or I should say, Q3, Q4 2016 models with the, the processor paste not being applied correctly or not enough, and they were kind of overheating and throttling and that sort of thing. With this one here, I've had no issues with that at all. And I just think, they screwed up and they fixed the issue. Yeah, this is the 7th gen series, and yeah, no issues. So guys, I know this is kind of a horrible review, but there's so many reviews out there. I'm not going to sit here and just read off the list of specifications. You've already done that. If you're looking at this computer, I mean, you know what's in it. So at this point, it's really hard to find one in a store. And so you're kind of curious about, all right, before I go out and drop this much money, I want to make sure that for day-to-day use, is it a reliable unit? Does the bag fit? Is the bag comfortable? Does it move around? Is it well built? Is this thing going to last me? And especially that's how I felt, because after that Razer Blade Pro fiasco, I'm really, really concerned with quality. And this thing has not failed me yet. Outside of Windows 10 being a little buggy, but that's just Windows. I mean, I grew up on Windows, and I don't think I've ever been really impressed, except for the end of XP. At like the very last years of XP, that thing was pretty solid. But those days are gone. So, and there's some cool things. I know Cortana gets a bunch of shit for not being the most accurate, and she's kind of dumb, and I hate how she runs Bing for everything. But for a first start, for something that's pretty new, and the way that she articulates in her different accents, if you said, to Australia or UK, it's pretty cool. I really like it. It works out very well, and she has no issues understanding me or anything like that. So, but yeah, overall, guys, are you thinking about getting this laptop? Are you thinking about getting this bag? Metal that you're using, most likely you're going to buy them as a set. I would say, yeah, go and do it. Absolutely. Price wise, total price was about $4,500 US for my upgrades and this unit. And I guess if you include the bag, $4,600. But that's still about $150 less than what I had in the Razer, because this is including tax. So for that money, I can go out, I can buy a second power brick, or I should say a weapon, self-defense unit. And I can leave one at the office, and I can leave one at home. And it's not an issue anymore. I mean, you bring it to work, you plug it in, you're done. And I really like that. So, and the power bricks are cheaper. I think they're $98 as compared to Razer's. I think was $150 plus tax plus shipping. So, I mean, maybe that'd be nice. Maybe they'll give you free shipping. But anyway, so that's my review. If you guys have any questions, comments, or whatever, let me know in the comments, and I will be happy to address them. Or if you need a follow-up video or something specific, and I'll let you know. So thanks, guys, and I will see you here in the next video.